So it is the 3rd of August. This is a statement which is being made openly regarding facts regarding cyber crimes and misconduct by people with security clearances who are associated with Rogue BJJ, Michael Armstrong, the Signals community, and these things. So I previously made a video describing trying to put into context some of Michael's behaviours. Michael, in these things, is a person who, at a time, I didn't have tried very hard to find a place for thinking of him as a person who might be a community leader, someone who might be a positive influence. The reality is that the wider cybersecurity community, the cyber warfare community, anything with signals in the name, it's not a group of people you want to have anything to do with, and I don't think they are. I don't know what the intervention is to solve issues in these communities, but you don't want anything to do with them. I don't think anyone with a security clearance should be allowed near Rogue BJJ or Michael. I don't think there's significant issues in this community. So let's first describe what these people are like. So, cybersecurity. We've got people who want to hack things for a living. They tend to be people who enjoy breaking things, enjoy playing with things. There's parts of that. And in cybersecurity, what they do is that they try to either. It tends to. The easiest way to think of it is as I think it's. I can't remember the names of the hats, but there's an attack team and a defense team. I think it's red hat and blue hat. And the idea is that you'll have a company, and this is the most basic level of cybersecurity, which is seen in the corporate world. So I'm describing what these people are like in the corporate world, and then we can move on to government and other applications. So in the corporate world, a client might, because they're dealing with sensitive information, even if it's just healthcare information, they need to have their system up to spec. So what they'll do is that they'll hire a cybersecurity specialist to come in, test everything against a series of industry standard policy and procedure. They make sure that they have all the correct antivirus software. They will do low-level social engineering, so they'll try and do phishing emails through staff members to try and see if anyone leaks information. And they will also, and they'll do things like this. People end up in this field, they might need just like a Cert 3. You can get a decent amount of money pretty quick doing this work, but it's often quite tedious. But it attracts these people, a lot of sort of self-taught people who like learning, people who like breaking things. And because you're breaking something and you're studying someone else's work, it kind of attracts these kind of sort of shit-eating, slightly Machiavellian, well, not Machiavellian, sort of people who get off in a little bit of superiority because they're able to work their way around these systems. And because they're doing this social engineering and they hear about these big names in the industry, these big cases of people doing these amazing hacks and these amazing things, they kind of like, oh, that's what good looks like. That's what I want to aspire to. And that's what they think good looks like. Then you'll move across and then you'll have the government. So I'll give you an example of it done, what they perceive as done well, and I don't think this is done well. So let's look at a military application. The Israelis, they have this system where they'll get these kids basically out of high school who are very smart. They'll chuck them in the army through their conscription thing. They'll then be put into a team, and that team then does cyber warfare. Right, so that's where they put the smart people there. Now, those people, they spend their day just as sort of like the autistic trolls that we think of in 4chan. They look at ways to break systems and break people, except they're doing it in a warfare application. They famously had that situation where they gave all the pages, they put explosives in pages, then gave them to all the Hezbollah. I'm trying to remember the name of the organization. I think it was Hezbollah leadership. And then they detonated these pages which had an explosive in it. That's something which would be considered part of the overall intelligence branch, which the cyber warfare team would be under. The cyber warfare team would be tracking down the locations of people using the internet, using information that they can get about them through open source information such as Google Ads, and other tracking sort of algorithms and things like that. And they're these people who are like this, okay? Now, the thing is that with this group of people, they tend to be autistic, they tend to be disagreeable, they tend to be real shit eaters, if I'm honest. I know this because I've met a fair few of them. I was when I was in Toowoomba, I'd go to the pub, I'd find people who were in signals and they would just speak too much and tell me shit, and I got to know some of them. Some of them are quite nice people, very professional, but there's this understanding, like within wider army, that the signals guys, they're kind of seen as autistic and obnoxious. They have this reputation about them, and when I've met them outside of that, I've found that to be true. So yeah, they'll be like this, and they're very strange politically. Like, they have this strange conservative lean to them. So they'll really like people like Jordan Peterson, and I have an interest in military stuff, so they'll be really interested in people like Jocko Willink. And they have this sort of proto-fascist leaning to them. Like, I don't think everything Jordan Peterson says is terrible, but he is a proto-fascist. He is bizarrely, he's got a lot of very strange beliefs about authority and the people having authority because naturally it's a measure of their competence, and they're just two completely different measures. But yeah, they'll have the same dogmatic views, like, they'll be anti-immigration, they'll be there's commonly this racist element, and Jordan Peterson isn't a racist, but you need to understand the group of people who are attracted to people like that. And for a long time I've seen people like Jordan Peterson, and I used to think as Michael Armstrong as one of these people who was like a moderating influence on this group of people, like helping them calm down, helping them find like a way of expressing their politics and beliefs in a way which was useful. I no longer believe that. Definitely not with Michael. So I've been around a lot of these hackers. Some of them have been in private sector, some of them have been in military, some of them have been in government agencies. This isn't just something I was around in Rogue BJJ. When I was in Canberra, I used to sort of just network with different groups. CIT has a very healthy cybersecurity ecosystem. There's a lot of work being done to try and grow the industry. And through this, I just got to network with a lot of the people in it. It got to the point where I started getting job offers, not just in cybersecurity roles, but to do support work for people who were convicted of criminal cyber attacks. And they needed people to work with that population, with these clients who were dangerous people. And when you're working with them, there's a list of things that you do, such as not giving them your private details, because these people get off on controlling and dominating others. And another thing which people get off with control and domination is something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where you're wrestling and dominating and pinning someone down. And through this, I got exposed to all these sinister motherfuckers. Now, Michael is one of these people. Michael is a sinister fucker. He's and not in like the overt sense. I think he's a bit of a pussy, all things considered. But like, no, seriously, guy's never done anything real in his life when it comes to combat. But you would see it with his gym and the people there. I was dealing with these very weak-skinned kind of people who were getting off on control and domination, and because I was just better at the craft at jiu-jitsu, they got very agitated at me. I wasn't disrespectful, they were just pussies. But I've had to deal with all these hacks. I've had documents deleted off servers and all kinds of weird things, because these people, they want to control and dominate. They get off on it. And Michael's been aware that this has been going on, and he also sees the world because his background is cyber warfare. He worked for the Australian Signals Directorate and at Kabbalah. I'm trying to remember the name of the barracks. I think it's Borneo Barracks. That's where I knew of him, because he was stationed there when he was in Toowoomba, and for a time he was my jiu-jitsu coach when he was actively serving. And like, he's always been around this. His view of how people work is through this domination and control lens. And he tried to dominate and control me. Members of his gym tried to dominate and control me. And for them, this is just life. It's not life. These are criminal offenses. But of course, Michael, he walks around with his dog. He's got all this appeal because he's this wounded veteran that he plays up. You can't, when you look at it, he's through this sympathy that he's generated for himself, it's difficult to be able to say, hey, this fucker's doing some terrible things. The people around him have been doing some terrible things. These terrible things which are going on are cultural practices for his community. These are bad people. And it's frustrating to say that, because you need to remember that Michael has positioned himself as a mentor in the community. He has people at his gym who are veterans, vulnerable people. He has people coming into his gym who are law enforcement. Because there's the art side of things and he's very cultured, he attracts a lot of senior public servants to his little community, and he's very well connected. I remember going to functions with that Michael was running where the head of state, David Hurley, our Governor General, was attending. So that's what I want to communicate today. This person's a bad man. These people are bad men, right? And there's many aspects to Michael which I think are quite redeemable. I previously made a video trying to say that from now on I wanted to only say nice things. I wanted to say that a lot of the criminal behaviour which he's exhibited, such as violating the personal protection order which he himself wrote as a means of lawfare, he created a legal notice with the intention of violating that legal notice, which he's done several times, to try and subdue me, right? The only reason that there is conflict between myself and Michael is because he would not fuck off. And the people in his community would not fuck off. And when I requested him to take charge of him getting his little lackeys and the people that he has relationships with to fuck off, we had this series of escalations. He's a cult leader. It's a cult. Or at least it's a club of people associated with people who are these autistic, shit-eating hackers, who are associated with who have some of who work in the military in hacking, some work for Signals, some work in the private sector. But these are the people I've been dealing with, and it's been very unpleasant. And that's my video for today. Right? This is very real.